So there it is. This is what you need to change the oil on your 2021 or 2022 Dodge Ram TRX. But I'm going to show you how to do it and save a good bit of money on all this stuff. Let's dive into it. All right, guys, so if you're like me, you own a TRX of some kind, whether it is a 2021 or in my case, a 2022, it is an expensive truck. It's a big truck. It's one of those things you want to keep running nicely for as long as possible. Now, in this situation, I have 1,200 miles on the truck and I would like to do my own first oil change. And I want to do it in a way that is as cheap as possible. I know. You spend $100,000 on a truck and then you're cheaping out on the oil change. I'm not exactly cheaping out. What I want to do is get it done using the oil and the filter that Mopar recommends. The same stuff you would get if you took it to the dealership. I just want to try to find it and do it in the cheapest way possible. Because yeah, I did just spend $100,000 on a truck. Why not try to keep the maintenance costs down? And it's pretty easy to do in this situation. So like I said in the beginning, guys, this is the stuff we're going to need. You're going to need about 8 quarts of the Pennzoil 0W40. Now, it's up to you if you want to follow what Mopar recommends or if you just want to go with a different name brand 0W40, but in this situation you're going to need at least 0W40, and as you can see here, this is the oil that is the choice for Mopar. Now, I know at the end of the day that pretty much just means that they pay to advertise or whatever for Mopar, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go with what Mopar recommends, just like I do with my Corvette. I go with Mobil 1 there because that's what GM recommends. So I try to stick with what the manufacturer is recommending just for warranty purposes. Now, if you guys have looked at the price of this stuff, you'll already know it's pretty expensive, but we're here to show you how to get it done cheaper. I bought 2 cases of this, so there's 6 quarts in each box. You can get them on Amazon right now for $41.90 before taxes. After taxes, it's somewhere around $43 and some change for each box. So that will bring you up to about $86 to $87. The oil filter here can be had as cheap as $6.99 at Walmart. I believe this one was right around $10 on Amazon. Of course, all this stuff will be linked in the description down below. Where it gets really interesting though is even at full price, we're under $100, but right now until October of 2022, you can actually get some money back on this stuff. So if you buy the Pennzoil box like I have here, if you buy 2 of them, you'll actually get $25 back from Pennzoil. I will put the link in the description down below. Just fill it out, send the receipt, and you get 25 bucks back. So with the $25 off, we're at somewhere around $70 to $75 for this oil change. Now, that is significantly cheaper than what you'll pay at the Dodge dealership if you don't have any more of your free oil changes left, or even what you would pay without getting these things on Amazon and doing the coupon that is linked in the description below. But that's it, guys. That's all you need. You need those 2 boxes and the oil filter, and then we are ready to do the oil change. So we're going to get the oil change done on the TRX today, and we're going to get it done in a cheaper way than you could from the dealership, and we're going to guarantee it's done correctly because we're going to do it ourselves. All right, guys, so you can fit under the TRX without the use of a ramp or a jack, but in this case I'm going to put them up on the race ramps because I do want to drop that pan underneath to make sure that I drain the oil cooler as well. So don't do what I did. If you do use the ramps or you jack up the truck, get the oil cap off first, because now we need to employ the use of a stool of some kind to get up in there, because now the truck sits even higher than it usually does. Anyway, I'm going to get under there and kind of show you the process. I know you guys have probably seen an oil change on a TRX before, but I figured I'm doing it. I might as well throw it out there for those of you who haven't seen it done yet. We do have to drop the pan right here to get to the oil cooler, but otherwise you have free access to the filter and the drain plug underneath via a cutout. So anyway, let's get to it. I cannot stress enough the amazingness that is the race ramp though. These things are just so freaking easy to use. They don't slide along the pavement, so if you put them underneath your tires and start driving up, you can do all of this by yourself. You don't actually need somebody holding those ramps or even someone guiding you up. You can actually feel when it hits the edge. So I use use it to change the oil on my T-Rex, my ZR1 Corvette, and even the wife's Cadillac. So you can use these for pretty much anything. The max weight on these, I believe, is 1,500 pounds each, so we're pushing it here. But I watched them. They're not collapsing or crushing in any way, shape, or form, so I think we're good. Now, obviously, the TRX does sit high enough, and if it were to completely collapse through those, I still wouldn't die underneath. But at the end of the day, I feel pretty confident these things are pretty stout. And they're pretty light. They only weigh like maybe 5 to 8 pounds. So I usually have them hung on my wall over there, but today they're gonna be the oil change helper with the RAM TRX. So coming under the truck here, guys, this is the panel right here that we're gonna have to remove. So a couple screws, nothing too major, but the oil cooler is right around in here. Now, if we go back right there with that circle, that's where the drain plug's at. Relatively easy if all you need to do is just drain the oil, but in this case, we're also gonna drain the oil cooler, which is a couple bolts, and then we can have pretty easy access to it. And then, of course, we have our helper right there. He thinks he's a T-Rex, but he's a little bit smaller. Onyx, Onyx, come here. There he comes. Oh boy. All right, so we got the underpan off, which was 6 16mm bolts that have some Loctite on them, so be prepared for that. Now we can see the actual oil cooler right here, which this is the drain plug right there we're gonna have to drain. From what I understand, not much is gonna come out of this, but just to be thorough, we're gonna drain that. And then, of course, on the back side, that's where the oil filter is. Pretty interesting here. They have like kind of a funnel built in, so any oil that comes out of there will spill out right here, and you can just kind of put your drain pan right down here to allow that to escape without making too much of a mess. But the oil drain plug is right up in there, and that will be a 14mm. So we're going to go ahead and crack that open, let it drain. Then we're going to come up here to the oil cooler and do that, and then we're going to ultimately grab that filter out of there, and then that's pretty much that. Oil change is an oil change in most cars, but I figured I'd show you that, guys, this just because this is a new enough vehicle that most people have probably not seen this yet. But yeah, here it is. Nothing too crazy. So far, 6 bolts, plus the drain plug will be 7, so we'll be able to get this done with about 7 bolts removed. And I said 14 earlier, but I actually meant 13. This is a 13mm drain plug here. Surprisingly, it's not on there super tight. That was a little messy. It is relatively dirty for only having about 1,500 miles on it. Actually, it's a little less. It's only about 1,300 miles. But anyway, we're going to let this drain, and then we're going to start working on the oil cooler, and then obviously remove the filter, get it filled back up, and then put all this stuff back together. And we got the 15mm bolt free. What you want to do is obviously put a 15mm socket on this end, and then on this end you can actually put an adjustable crescent wrench to make sure you're not putting too much tension on any of these lines or anything. This cracks free pretty easily. It wasn't on there with too much torque, so we'll go ahead and drain that next. So you can see there's not a whole lot coming out of there, but enough. If we want to make this a legit oil change, you're going to want to do this every time. Maybe 1/8 of a quart so far. Okay, so oil cooler is totally drained. Now next step is going to be right there, the oil filter. It's kind of dark, but basically this little funnel thing right here will actually take any fluid that leaks from there and drop it right into the oil drain pan. So kind of a cool design, but I'm gonna go ahead and get that off there, and then we'll start getting the new one up and all that oil back into the truck. Oil filter all replaced, everything's ready to go. Now we're just gonna start putting that in there. Liquid gold. And lastly, guys, we're going to go ahead and put the skid plate back on. Be aware of how heavy this thing is. So it doesn't look like it's very big, but it is pretty heavy. So especially if you're doing this just by yourself, this is going to be pretty tough to get down and everything. Just a pointer for you, because yeah, you don't want to hit yourself in the face like this. Trust me. Don't ask me how I know. All right, guys, and here we are at night. We are here to reset the engine oil life in the TRX. So what you want to do is go ahead and set it to run. So the vehicle is not actually running, but we're in the run mode on the start-stop button there. And then in the menu system here on the screen, we're going to go ahead and cycle all the way over to the oil life. And then up there at the very top, you can see we're going to press and hold OK on the steering wheel to reset it. And that's it. or reset to 100. Now, like I said, yeah, 1,300 miles is what we have on the truck. I really only did this as just like a precautionary type thing. The oil didn't need changed, as you saw there. We were still at 74-ish%, but I went ahead and did it. I just wanted to show you guys the best way to save some money while doing an oil change. I didn't need to, like I said, it was more of me being kind of obsessed with this kind of thing more than anything. But at the end of the day, I wanted to show you guys how to save some money on your oil change in your TRX. So if you guys liked it, smash that thumbs up button. If you have any questions about how we managed to get this oil change for around 70 bucks, leave them in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm going to have loads of tips like this coming you're not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.